Cyrus, it's a pleasure to be speaking with you today. We're really happy to be hosting you, particularly because you're a 2021 Summer Venture Award winner. So congratulations again. So, this is an opportunity really for us to hear a little bit more about you, hear more about Coverforce, and sort of the path you've taken to get to where you are today. So I wanted to start with a little bit of background on who you are. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So a little about myself. Well, like 40% of Wharton, I am an international student. And I guess I hopefully add to the rich cultural tapestry that is the Wharton and Penn community. So I actually was born in New Zealand. I spent most of my childhood in Australia, where I did my undergraduate studies at the University of Sydney. I proceeded to move to London when I was about 20 years old to pursue a degree in chartered accountancy, working for PricewaterhouseCoopers. And then I guess very quickly I realized audit and accounting wasn't for me. I ended up moving to the consulting and advisory practice. Spent about 2 years there after that. I felt along the way I was kind of picking up a certain set of skills that I knew would one day come in handy. And I ultimately realized that I wanted a more holistic view of how transactions happen, how companies are structured, and how people think about things like commerce, things like operations, finance, legal aspects, technical aspects of a company. So I decided to go to Credit Suisse and become an investment banker. And then I found myself applying to Wharton. I guess it was just something I really wanted to do, and I thought it was a great way to continue to round out my skill set.
But now that you're here, you've jumped into entrepreneurship, of all things. So is this your first stint in entrepreneurship? If not, sort of what age did you get the bug?
I come from a very entrepreneurial family. My father started numerous businesses and has always had a great impact on me. He's always been a hard worker, and he kind of instilled in us children, my brother and I, that we were meant to get up early, help out. I was an accounting clerk for years. I even was a delivery boy in our cafe in Sydney. And we always did odd jobs for usually below minimum wage, if any wage. But when it came to being an entrepreneur myself, actually it was interesting. I was I think about 13, 14 when I kind of came across an opportunity where I had kind of acquired one of these retractable keychains. And at the time, it was kind of something very new in my school. People loved that you could play around with it, and it was very easy to access your locker, but also easy to play like fun little, I guess, key fights with. So I had a few friends who asked me to go out and buy some for them, and I, of course, said sure. And they said, "We'd happily pay you $2." I said, "Well, I'm buying them 50 cents. Here's a little business." I started off with 5 friends, then another handful of friends, then another dozen friends, and all of a sudden, I had dozens of people basically across my school asking if they can have these retractable keychains. And, I couldn't really keep up with the demand at the time. I ended up taking so many different trips to this one store which sold them. And the guy must have thought I was nuts buying, hundreds of these retractable keychains. But, it was a great experience. I realized how strong demand for certain products can be. And, ultimately, I think I ended up selling the last one for about $15. And I made a total of, I believe, around $1,400 in the course of 1 month. And, my only goal at the time, being, a 13, 14-year-old kid, was to get an annual subscription to a motor magazine. And I think I just surpassed what I was expecting. So it was a good outcome.
And so you shared a little bit about your sort of professional path and it's sort of many successes along the way. So, I presume someone coming with that pedigree could have made the choice to go to a number of different schools, business schools. What made you pick Penn? Why Wharton as your choice?
So when I was initially deciding to go to business school, well, even whether business school was the right move for me, I actually came to America. This was back in 2017, and I decided to do a bit of a tour. I went to all the main schools, including Penn. And I think when I got to each school, different things struck me as standing out. But ultimately, when I got to Penn and when I actually visited Wharton, I realized that this is the place I wanted to be. And I think one of the reasons was because I felt I belonged there. I remember sitting on a few of the classes, I remember finding the teacher very engaging, the fact that they had a very good mixture of what they were learning through case study, theory, but also people were very readily sharing their practical experiences that they'd shared in a work setting internationally. And I think that strong combination of the three stood out to me. But then I think it was very much also after class when I started talking to people, and they just seemed friendly. They just, everyone had a very collegiate nature. They were very, very warm. They were giving me their number, asking if you ever need help or if you ever want advice, let us know. And I think that was the only time I'd actually experienced that on my college tour. And I visited about 4 schools during that period.
So when you got here, you seem to have jumped right into the entrepreneurial community. Can you talk a little bit about what the ecosystem is like here for you specifically? What did you get out of it, and what have you learned?
Well, when it comes to the resources available at Penn, it caught me by such surprise. I think Penn has historically been known, or Wharton specifically has been known as a finance school. And one thing that really struck me is how entrepreneurial the spirit of the Wharton curriculum was, as well as the faculty, but also the resources that have been built up over the last decade at Penn to support entrepreneurs. I think I could see it as 3 things that really strike a difference. One of them is access. If it wasn't for Penn, I would have never been able to go or afford to go to Money 2020 conference, which is where I really did my idea of validation and scouting of the insurance market, seeing what other competitors and startups were out there. Secondly, the network. I mean, the entrepreneurship faculty are incredibly forthcoming with advice and support, as well as the marketing faculty, and not to mention the engineering school and other and the college. Whenever people need advice, they can just call up a professor who knows archaic banking law, or a virologist, and I find that incredible. In addition to that, the alumni really came and became heroes to us. We have a great application called Wharton Connect, which might be called something else now, but we can connect to anyone in the Penn community who are alumni or current students, and I did that. I did that quite regularly when I was really going through different iterations of the Coverforce model. And I think as well, very much the Penn branding enabled me to really approach a lot of large insurance companies, as well as large customers, with very much a position of inquiry. And they were very receptive to the Penn name, and that really helped me to get my foot in there and really understand what they needed, which was so important to what we've become. And I think third, and very much not at all the least, is the funding. I think Venture Labs has really it sets itself aside from most other ecosystems at any kind of business school. And how it does that is it provides us such strong financial support, as well as support from entrepreneurs in residence and other industry experienced alumni. A lot of what we've done through the validation, implementation, and launch phase has been in partial support of the Venture Labs, whether it is through the S.J. Dilenschneider Summer Venture Award, the Startup Challenge Showcase, or even just the Venture Lab funding that is available to all startups in the community.
That's amazing. It sounds like both the curricular and the co-curricular opportunities and options here at Wharton really inspired you, and inspired you to create Coverforce, your startup. Can you talk to us a little bit about what Coverforce is, what do you do, and what was the inspiration?
The Coverforce platform, what it does is connects insurance companies with the most valuable advocates and trusted partners. And by this, I mean the insurance agents and brokers, the 40,000 insurance agents and brokers that really power the commercial insurance industry. We've designed our systems to really help our clients offer risk products with reduced errors, tailored to their customer in real time, with best practice development standards and a proprietary uniform set of protocols, which we hope are really going to innovate and change the industry. The birth of Coverforce, like any entrepreneur will tell you, it was definitely an iteration. I think some days I feel like I don't recognize what it is now from what I started with. And it has gone through so many evolutions because my strong belief, and this was something the faculty taught us, which is what previous mentors had taught me, and even when you listen to some great entrepreneurs talk in podcasts, you hear everyone says you have to let your customer really drive what the product is. And so we very much let our customers drive what the product is.
You recently applied and received our 2021 Summer Venture Award. Congratulations. And also was the grand prize winner for the Venture Lab Startup Challenge. Congratulations again. Can you tell us a little bit about those experiences?
Yes, winning the Summer Venture Award, which was very kindly donated by the S.J. Dilenschneider Foundation and the Dilenschneider family in support of their father. That, alongside winning the grand prize at the Penn Venture Showcase competition, were definitely two of the highlights of my year. But one of the reasons why the Summer Venture Award really stood out to me was because of the judges and the level of scrutiny which they put us through at every stage of the process, whether it was through our initial application, the semifinals, finals. And the reason for that is because the Summer Venture Award really did bring together a strong group of judges who were both alumni and faculty with domain experience, with experience in engineering, with experience in coming from Wharton and the rest of the college. And what they provided me was a strong level of scrutiny on my business plan, my financials, how our tech stack was set up. And I really had to, I felt myself very much being pushed to, explain ourselves and justify every decision I'd made. And I think I very much thrive on that level of scrutiny. And I was very appreciative for the experience that I received from the alumni and the faculty who provided that judgment.
So as you know, the funding for the Summer Venture Award is designed to give students an opportunity to work on their ventures over the summer. The grant funding is designed to really help students jumpstart their ventures and really understand if it's something that's viable. So can you talk a little bit about how you used the funding this past summer for Coverforce?
So the funding from the Summer Venture Award, which again, very generously provided by the S.J. Dilenschneider Foundation, that went to development. All our funds are being utilized right now for developing the product for our first client ahead of our launch. And I think that's just where we're focused. We're very much a company that's heads down and we're not really spending much money on anything else right now.
Not only are you a Summer Venture Award winner for this year, but you're the winner of the inaugural S.J. Dilenschneider Award, which was so generously donated by the Dilenschneider family in honor of their father, who was a Wharton grad from 1928. Can you talk a little bit about what that award has meant to you?
One of the things that really struck out about this award was that not only did we receive the financial support from the Dilenschneiders, but actually they very much reached out to us and provided a very strong both emotional and consulting support, which was very appreciated. I think what they've done in memory of their father has been amazing, but also taking time out of their schedules to provide support to a startup like ours, especially when we are trying to navigate the communications and marketing aspects of our business. And they have over 50 years of experience in this industry, has been incredibly, it's something we could not have done on our own and something which we are incredibly grateful for.
So Cyrus, from everything we've talked about, it's clear that you've come a long way in developing Coverforce and making it the company that of your dreams. What advice would you give to other aspiring entrepreneurs, whether they be Penn, Wharton, alumni, students, or beyond?
So when it comes to what I've learned and then the experience, it's very much been, like any entrepreneur will tell you, it's been about flexibility and perseverance. I think one of the things that has very much struck me is I feel like I'm constantly flexible and always listening to my customers, and that's kind of helped me to adapt my business model into what it is today. I think looking back, I think I'm not where I was when I started, and I'm okay with that. And I think any entrepreneur who I know is thriving at Wharton right now would agree with that sentiment. So I would say definitely flexibility, definitely endurance, and endurance and perseverance, because you're going to be told no a lot of times. You're going to be told, something's not a fit. But I think that taught me to just ask why. And usually people will tell you what they want and what they need, and then you have to see, how can I meet those needs? One of my favorite quotes is, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And I truly believe that to today. It's the reason I also lived my life moving countries from a young age. And I think it's something where it was very much that adage, which is the reason why I decided to not only look into the insurance industry, to talk and reach out to alumni and my fellow students who were in the industry as well, to really learn more about it and see how I could solve those problems.